Hey guys, welcome back to this Gem Knight guide. With the new Gem Knight support, this deck is now viable again as a going second deck. In this guide, I will first show you the cards. We will obviously go over all the new cards, but we will also read over all of the Gem Knight cards, since this is not like a very common deck and you might not know all the cards, so I just want to read them with you. There are timestamps in the description, but basically in the video, so you could say. So if you don't want the introduction here and you know the cards already, maybe then you can skip this, and then I will show you 3 combos going second, killing the opponent, because this is what you're going to. You're going to go second, which you can also see by these board breakers that I'm playing right here. Obviously, you can also go with more hand traps and then have this going second approach. This is your choice, obviously. And I will also mention what you can do going first with this deck. For example, make a Baguska so that you can basically skip your opponent's turn. And yeah, we also had the possibility to make a Paradise Smasher, but this one was banned, rightfully so. This was also an option to be made on your first turn, skipping your opponent's entire turn basically, but now this is no longer possible, definitely making this worse going first. But in this meta that we will face right now, you will basically never go first, so you can always go second, it doesn't really matter then. But now we will read over these cards and then you can check out the timestamps for the combos. So the first card we are going to read, let me quickly rearrange this because I needed this for the combo part video, is the first card here. Let's put it in the front, the Gem Knight Nepharim. A very, very good card. 4 stars, 155, 160. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Gem Knight card from your deck to your hand, so a tutor, basically Stratos. Also, any effect damage your opponent takes during the main phase is halved. Not that relevant because you will go battle phase and kill your opponent there. During your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves normal summon 1 gem monster, which oftentimes you will just go and summon the Germ Armadillo, which can add you another Gem Knight monster, so this is already very strong. But this is not all. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, which we can do via the Foolish Burial, I will also show you a combo there, then we can special summon this one by discarding a card from the hand, so we can also get this on the field by getting it to the graveyard. Basically very strong, a good combo enabler, and you will see that this is one of our best starters here. We are playing Maxi, obviously you want to skip our opponent's turn. We have 2 Hollow Core, also a new card here. You can send 1 Gem Knight normal monster or 1 Gem Knight Fusion from your deck to the graveyard. We don't have a normal monster, we are sending the Gem Knight Fusion to the graveyard, which is also very nice. Then we can special summon this card from our hand in defense position. On the field this is only a body, but in the graveyard he's very important. When your opponent activates a card or effect and you control a Gem Knight Fusion monster, quick effect, you can banish 3 Gem Knight cards, this one including, from your graveyard, including this card. Negate the effect, then all Gem Knight monsters you control gain 1000 attack. Very relevant for killing, obviously, but this deck does not have a hard time killing. This is very nice. We want to establish this early on, and you will see this throughout the combos I show you, so that we are nip safe and safe from other hand traps. This thing saves you. Then again, we will need to banish Gem Knight stuff from our graveyard, which sometimes we don't want to do, but it's obviously better than getting stopped and don't having the ability to play the turn. Then we have Gem Knight Quartz, which, if I am correct, is not one of the new cards. The new one being the Gem Knight Nepharim, the Hollow Core, and I think the Master Dispersion, as well as the Dispersion, Gem Knight Dispersion. This is one of the older cards. I think we will still read it. If your opponent controls monsters, once again going second here, you can discard this card for cost. Set 1 Fusion Continuous spell directly from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the ED except Gem Knight monsters, which doesn't really matter. You're going second, you want to kill your opponent, which is where you don't need these not extra deck cards that you can also theoretically make, but you won't need this. You can set your continuous spells like your Scatter Fusion or your Brilliant Fusion, which is now once again at 3. Yeah, we have the Gem Knight Quartz here. Also, if this card is used as a material for a fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or banished, you can add 1 Gem Knight monster from your graveyard to your hand, except the Quartz. We will use this in the combo quite often, or you can also get back your Nepharim, for example. Then we have the old card Germ Armadillo, which you can already see by this not having a lot of text. When this card is normal summoned, so we have to normal summon this, which we can do via the additional effect of Nepharim, but this can also be a combo starter, as you will see. We can add 1 Gem Knight monster from deck to hand, just like a search card. Then we have Scatter Fusion Continuous spell during your main phase if your opponent controls a monster. Once again going second here, you can fusion summon 1 non-rock Gem Knight monster from your extra deck using monsters from your deck as material. Also, you cannot special summon, but Gem Knight monsters from the extra deck doesn't matter. You can only use this effect of Scatter Fusion once per turn. When this card leaves the field, destroy all monsters summoned by this card's effect. Can be relevant, so keep this in mind. So we can use fusion summon from our deck basically if our opponent controls a monster. So yeah, this is our going second card, obviously. And then we have the new one, Gem Knight Dispersion. Very good. You can use both effects, activate one of these effects, but you can only use each once. Fusion summon 1 Gem Knight Fusion monster from your ED using monsters from your hand or field as material if you have Gem Knight Fusion in your graveyard, which you send via your Gem Knight Hollow Core most of the time. So this works. In most combos, you will firstly have the Hollow Core and then afterwards get the Dispersion. So is always basically live. If you have Gem Knight Fusion in your graveyard, you can also use up to 2 non-rock Gem Knight monsters from your deck or extra deck. So once again, branded fusion basically, which obviously is super strong because that means we don't need a lot of fusion materials from the hand or from the field, and we can have cards like our breakers, or you can also once again just play this with hand traps and stop your opponent or whatever you want to do here. And then it also says add 1 Gem Knight monster from your deck or banishment to your hand. Also, any effect damage your opponent takes during main phase is halved. Once again, we battle, so not really important. Then we have Brilliant Fusion back at 3 from the ban list. When this card is activated, a Fusion Summon 1 is once again continuous. Fusion Summon 1 Gem Knight Fusion monster from your ED using monsters from your deck as fusion material. Once again, branded fusion. But change its attacks and defense to 0, which doesn't really matter because we will basically get new ones to the field that then have their original attack. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. Once per turn, you can discard 1 spell card for cost. The monster special summoned by this card's effect gains attack and defense equal to its original attack and defense until the end of your opponent's turn. So another way that you can use basically to make them get attack again, so you can kill. But you can also just make stuff like the new the Gem Knight Master Dispersion, and he can then summon monsters that already have their original attack point. So this doesn't really matter. We have our Gem Knight Fusion, which is very important, and we can send via the Holocore, giving us access. This is so strong for this deck. We only need 1 because we can just get it back to our hand over and over again. Send from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard the fusion monsters that are listed on a Gem Knight Fusion monster card, and then special summon that fusion monster from the extra deck. Unfortunately, we here need to use stuff from our field in hand, so this is not branded fusion, but this deck already has enough branded fusions. If this card is in the graveyard, you can banish 1 Gem Knight monster from your graveyard, add this card to your hand. This is not once per turn, and you will see in the video, in the comments that show you that we will use this multiple times each turn. Then we have the breakers here, and I'm playing breakers and a few hand traps, obviously the impactful ones that basically skip the turn, but you can also play, I don't know, Lancias if you see a lot of malice. You know the drill. These are just basically, I just had some suggestions here. You could play Ultimate Slayer, you can play Thrust Talent Package, you can play more hand traps, whatever you want. It's your choice here. You can play this as a breaker variant or as a hand trap variant, both basically having the same idea in mind. And you also have some tools in your deck that will help you, or in your engine basically, I should say, that will help you clear the board. Then we have Gem Knight Topaz, is an old one. I won't read these here because it's not super important. You will most likely not make them with their original ones. Must fusion summoned with the above fusion materials, doesn't matter. This card can attack twice during each battle phase. This is relevant because we can use our Gem Knight Master Diamond to basically banish a Gem Knight monster, and then he gets the effect. So he can then attack twice. When this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster in the graveyard. Also very important, once again, you don't do this with this guy, but you do it with him, and then you can basically burn your opponent. So we have multiple ways of killing our opponent, even if we can't clear the entire board. Then we have Gem Knight Aquamarine. So the Topaz, the Aquamarine, and normally the Ruby are the ones that we are going to summon from our Master Dispersion here to kill our opponent or to continue our plays. You will see this in the combo section. This one must be first fusion summoned with the fusion materials above. If this card attacks, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle. It doesn't really matter. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, which we can do via fusion it away, target 1 card your opponent controls, return that target to their hand. So another option that we have to clear 1 more card from our opponent's board, very important. We have Gem Knight Lady Laspis. Once again, this says this exact line. Once per turn, you can send 1 Gem Knight monster from your main deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, inflict 5 more damage to your opponent for each special summon monster on the field. Another way to basically finish the game. Keep in mind though that this would happen in the main phase, and then this effect here, or these, we have read this a few times, this effect of halving the damage would come into play. So this is an option you will most likely not really often go for, but just keep in mind that you can do it. We have Gem Knight Zera, 5th Knight. It says during your main phase you can normal summon 1 monster in addition to your normal summon. Very important, you will see this is basically what she's there for. Then we have the Ruby Knight. All of these are older ones, as you can guess by the text not being that great, honestly. Once per turn, you can tribute 1 face-up Gem Knight monster. This card gains attack equal to the tribute this monster attack on the field until the end phase, and then it gets piercing damage. Once again, an opportunity to make a lot of damage points on the board. Then we have Gem Knight Master Dispersion, not a new one, but a good one. 3 Gem Knight monsters must first be fusion summoned. This card gains 1000 attack for each Gem Knight monster in your graveyard. Very strong. Once per turn, you can banish 1 level 7 or lower Gem Knight, 100, sorry, not 1000, Gem Knight fusion monster from your graveyard until the end of this, until the end phase. anyways, this card names and original effect becomes the same as the banished monsters. So for example, banishing the Topaz to basically inflict battle damage, to be able to attack twice and make piercing damage, for example. This is our main target with this. Then we have the new one, very strong Gem Master Dispersion, Diamond Dispersion. During the main phase quick effect, you can send this card to the graveyard for a cost. Special summon up to 3 non-rock gem monsters with different names from your extra deck and or graveyard, ignoring their summoning conditions. Also extra deck locked fusion monsters. So this is where we get the Topaz, the Aquamarine, and the Ruby to our field, even though we can't really summon them because we don't use these original materials, right? But he will be able to get us to those, and they will be able to finish the game for us, basically. A very strong card that near the end of the turn you want to get to, basically. We have Gem Knight Lady Brilliant, 3 Gem Knight monsters, must first be fusion summoned. You can only special summon this once. Once per turn you can send 1 Gem Knight monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 Gem Knight fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Another way to summon a lot of these guys, basically. For example, also this Master Dispersion if you wanted to. So just a flexible spot, very strong card. We have Gem Knight Prisma Aura, which you don't often use, but once per turn you can send 1 Gem Knight card from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 face-up card on the field, destroy the target. If you need to clear up more stuff, I guess you can use this. Then very important, the Gem Knight Phantom Quartz. You will make this very often in the beginning of the combo, and this is also a good spot to hit the Gem Knight player. If this card is linked summoned, you can add 1 Gem Knight card from your deck to your hand, so just Stratos. But then also you can pay 1,000 life points for cost, fusion summon 1 Gem Knight fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling fusion materials in your possession listed on it into your deck that are banished or in the graveyard. So very nice, but I cannot attack directly this turn. Once again, doesn't really matter because we will get rid of it anyway, but very, very strong impermanence if you see it. Then we have an IP, an SP, the Abao, and the number Baguska. You can make a Baguska, for example. I will show you at which points in the combos you can theoretically make this. Once again, you will not often go first. This is not your plan. And then we have very, very strong Gem Knight Lady Rose. Once per opponent's turn, the first time a Gem Knight monster you control would be destroyed by card effect. It is not destroyed, not that important, but during your turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish 1 Gem Knight card from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it. Very, very strong in clearing the board. Also, you could basically make this on your first turn, and then having potential, or have interruption potential. Also the Hollow Core, having the Hollow Core on the graveyard is also a good thing if you go first, because this is then like a negate and interruption. Obviously this deck isn't great going first. This is where probably the hand trap build would be better, because if you should go first you have hand traps instead of these useless board breakers. But once again, I don't think that you will go first very often, so it doesn't really matter. And now let me show you the combos, and then in the end I will quickly go over the deck profile, naming each card so that you can basically copy it and run it in Master Duel. Alright, for our first combo we are going to start with the new Gem Knight Nepharim. Once again, if you want to know what the cards do, I won't explain them in detail here. Go check out the last part I did here where I explained the cards, went over all the Gem Knight cards. So we normal summon this guy. We can now add a Gem Knight card from deck to hand. This is Hollow Core. Hollow Core will now send the Gem Knight Fusion to the graveyard, special summon, and we use these bodies here to go into our very, very strong Link to the Quartz, which can add a Gem Knight card to the hand. We are going to grab Dispersion here. If you want to interrupt the deck, the infinite impermanence here can be very, very strong, since this can also fusion summon. Now we have the Hollow Core on the graveyard, which can already negate a monster effect by banishing all of these cards. Obviously we don't really want to do this. Now we grab the Dispersion here, and then we are going to activate Dispersion's effect to fusion summon by sending to the grave from our deck 1 Quartz and another Nepharim here. We are going to go into our Gem Knight Seraph Knight, which gives us in theory a normal summon. Then we are going to activate the Quartz. We can now target the Nepharim to grab this back to our hand, and then we have this additional normal summon here from our Seraph Knight. Now we activate the Gem Knight Fusion, banishing the Quartz to get it back to the hand. Next thing we are going to do is activate Gem Knight Fusion. We are going to use these from the field, because now we have to use field and hand to make Lady Rose Diamond. So now we were already nip protected when we basically put the Hollow Core into the graveyard and had this one on the field, but now we are even more protected, since when our opponent activates a monster effect, we can banish 1 Gem Knight card from our graveyard and then target 1 face-up card our opponent controls, destroy it. So we have even more interruption here now, or breaking opportunities, I should say, in addition to the fact that we are already nip safe from our hollow core here, or safe from any other hand trap basically. Now we are once again grabbing the Gem Knight Fusion back to our hand, banishing the fusion monster from our graveyard, and then use Phantom Quartz to pay 1,000 from our graveyard and our banishment. We are going to shuffle back, in this case, the Gem Knight Seraph Knight, the Gem Knight Quartz, and the one Nepharim. We are going to shuffle them back here. These are the targets, and then we are going to fusion summon here into Master Dispersion. And now we can use Master Dispersion and go into our little ones, the Ruby, also the Topaz, or the Aquamarine, sorry, and the Topaz here. Then we are going to get Gem Knight Fusion to make a bit of space from the board using these three here. So we are keeping on the field our Ruby and our Lady Rose Diamond, because she is once again an interruption, and we're making our Master Diamond. And at this point we basically have game here, because now we can also, by the way, just so you have seen it, if this one goes to the graveyard, you can target one card on the opponent controls and we can return it to the hand. Obviously this is not relevant right here, but you can once again clear more of the field at this point here. And then you can just go ahead, activate the Master Diamond, banishing the Topaz. Now he can attack twice and is inflicting battle damage, which is very, very strong, and obviously is more than enough to finish this game. We have 3-4 here, 3-4 again, 2-7, 2-5, and yeah, we finish the game right here. For our next combo, we are going to start with the Armadillo, which also works as a one-card combo. You will see that these combos basically always go the same way, I guess. Go Armadillo. When this card is normal summon, we can add a Gem Knight. Once again, Hollow Core makes sense. We get the Gem Knight Fusion to the graveyard, also get another body, which 2 bodies is important because once again, we want to go into the Quartzy here. Then Quartz is going to activate the effect Grab Dispersion. Once again, same thing here. We have 3 cards, and now we are nip safe at the point. We have the Fusion monster on the field right here. We go for Seraph Knight this time around. It's very important to go for the Seraph Knight, and we are going to banish Quartz in order to look at the Nepharim. It's basically the same. The only difference is that we started with a Nepharim before, and here we started with the Armadillo, and now we are going to normal summon the Nepharim, activate the effect because we can still search for another Dispersion. Remember that Dispersion, we can use both effects. We have used the effect of Fusion Summon. We can also use the other effect to add a Gem Knight monster from deck or banishment to the hand. We are going to do this now at the Armadillo, and now we can use the other effect of Nepharim that gives us an additional normal summon. Summon the Armadillo once again. Normal summon. We can once again add something. We are adding the Quartz to the hand, which you could also, if your opponent controls a monster, you can discard this card set from Fusion, continue spell directly from your deck. So we could get this, gives us access going second into more of our Fusion plays basically, if we needed that and if our opponent still controls a monster. At this point, if we are going first, this is a very interesting point where we could just make a Bagooska here. You could overlay them for a Bagooska so that you can skip your opponent's turn. You also have in your graveyard the Hollow Core, which is a monster negate basically by banishing. So this is what you could do right here. You could also go into an IP into SP play, also a possibility here. Obviously this deck isn't super strong going first, but this is not what the deck wants to accomplish basically. But this is what you could do. So if you are going first, then try to establish a Bagooska to basically skip a turn, because Bagooska kind of means that your opponent needs like an imperm, or maybe he is a very link heavy deck, then he might be able to play through the Bagooska, but still should cost them a lot, and you also have this negate from the Hollow Core. Now we will continue here. Gem Knight Fusion by banishing the Quartz back to the hand, and then we are going to Gem Knight Fusion with the Nepharim from the hand and the Quartz from the field to go into our Lady Rose Diamond. Another interruption on the field right now, very nice. Grab back Gem Knight Fusion by banishing another Quartz from the graveyard. Here it comes back to our hand. Now we are going to go Quartz, pay 1000, Fusion Summon with both from the banishment here and one Armadillo from our graveyard to go into what we basically always want to go into, our Master Diamond Dispersion. Very good card here. Now we have to clear the field a bit because otherwise Dispersion can't summon 3. So what we are going to do here, we are going to activate the Gem Knight Fusion using these 3 here in order to go into Lady Brilliant Diamond, and now we can use the Master Dispersion, send it to the graveyard. Once again, get Aqua, get Topaz, and get from the graveyard here, because she is a good interruption, also has more attack points, the Lady Rose Diamond. And then what we could also do is Gem Knight Fusion, banishing Quartz here, grab Gem Knight Fusion back to hand, and we can still use the Lady Brilliant, sending the Topaz to the graveyard, because she can basically, yeah, get something from our extra deck by ignoring its summoning conditions, which gives us our Master Diamond here. And then Master Diamond can once again banish this Topaz here to be able to attack twice and also have piercing damage. Once again, you can see we have a lot of damage here. You could also have sent away for the Lady Rose Diamond the Aquamarine if you want to bounce something, but keep in mind that you then obviously don't have this Master Diamond additional attack thingy here going. So always calculate your plays first, but this is very easy Master Duel since you are being displayed all the attack points here. So let me show you the last combo and what you can do if you have Foolish Burial as your starter. Alright, now let's work with the Foolish here. For the Foolish we need another card because we needed to discard for our Seraph Knight, Seraphim, Nepharim. So we are going to send the Nepharim, and then we can use Nepharim's Graveyard effect to discard one card. This is where we need this card for, and special summon Nepharim. And now we are basically in the same combo, but once again, let's look at this. We always want to get the Hollow Core because this gets us the Brilliant Fusion, also gets us protection. Now we are not protected yet, but we will be in a second. So we are going into our Gemini Quartz here. We are going to add once again the Dispersion. You know the drill by now. And now to make us safe from everything, we need a Fusion Monster on the field, and we are grabbing the Seraph Knight once again. So we are now safe with the Hollow Core in the graveyard here, and we can go Quartz that we have, by the way, sorry. Yeah, we have sent the Quartz and also another Nepharim here for the Fusion Summon, if you were wondering. We can now go ahead, activate the Quartz effect, grab back a Nepharim, and this additional normal summon here we can now use for this Nepharim. We also have not normal summoned yet though. Now Brilliant Fusion is going to banish another Quartz, grab back the Brilliant Fusion to the hand, the Gem Knight Fusion, going Gem Knight Fusion with the 2 on the field into the Lady Rose Diamond, once again having more interruption probabilities on going second turns, banishing the Fusion Monster, grab back the Gem Knight Fusion once again, and then Quartz can Fusion Summon by banishing or by shuffling back both from the banishment and then also from the graveyard. We have shuffled back so we have the Quartz, the Nepharim, and the Seraph Knight. So the Nepharim would have been from the graveyard. We shuffle those back into our deck to once again go into our good old Master Diamond Dispersion. Then we now have enough space here, so we activate Master Diamond Dispersion to go for Ruby, also go for the Topaz and the Aquamarine. Once again, we know the drill by now. Gem Knight Fusion sent away everything but the Ruby to Master Diamond. Here we once again have sent this Aquamarine, so we could now bounce something from our opponent's field. And once again, we can use the Gemini Fusion banishing the Link to get it back to the hand, and then we can use Master Diamond banishing Topaz. Once again, you know the drill, and we have game here. Let me now show you the deck list just so that you know how you could play this deck. I will just read the cards to you. If you want to understand the cards, then go to the beginning of the video where I explained all the Gem Knight cards. Alright, for the explanation, please go at the beginning of the video where I talked over all the cards. I just want to present to you what we are playing here. You can play it like this. You can also play a hand trap version. We are playing triple Gem Knight Nepharim, 2 Maxis, 2 Hollow Cores, 3 Gem Knight Quartz, 2 Gem Knight Armadillo, 3 Scatter Fusion, 3 Gem Knight Dispersion, 3 Brilliant Fusion, 1 Gem Knight Fusion. Here we're playing 2 Lightning Storms, 1 Foolish, definitely want the Foolish, 3 Fuvolos, 2 Nipped, so that we can skip our opponent's turn with these heavy hand traps. Then we have Forbidden Droplets here, 3 Imperms, we have Triple Tactics Thrust with targets like Duster, Triple Tactics Talents, or Ulti Slayer. And then in the extra deck we play Topaz, Gem Knight Aquamarine, Gem Knight Lady Lapis, then Seraph Knight, then Ruby, then Master Diamond, then Master Diamond Dispersion, then Gem Knight Lady Brilliant, then the Prisma Aura, the Phantom Quartz. You can also play a second Phantom Quartz. We can get the Masquerina, SP Little Knight. You can also make an Abao AQ, the Lightless Shadow if you want to. Then we have the Tarp here, one very important one to skip our opponent's turn, and the Lady Rose Diamond. And once again, you could also just go ahead and play, I don't know, Ash Blossoms here. You might want to play Ash Blossoms over something else here if you are often hit by like a Mech C. Remember that the Mulch armies will most likely not do anything to you because you're going second and your opponent will control cards. But you once again could also play this with Ash Blossoms and Effect Veilers and Lancias over stuff like the Droplets, the Thrusts, the Dusters, Talents, and the Slayer. Then the idea is just to hand trap your opponent so heavily that you can basically not play the game. As you can see, we have some room for non-engineering. We have 2, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 non-engine. This is plenty, and if you just fill this out with hand traps, for example, only hand traps, then you will most likely be able to stop your opponent. You will most likely see 2 hand traps, which can be enough, but isn't always enough. Keep that in mind also. This is unfortunately the matter we are currently in right now, but yeah, this is the deck that you could go ahead and play on the ladder of the release of Gemnet. If you have any more questions concerning this deck or the guide, let me know in the comments, and if you liked the video, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up and the notification bell. This would help me out a lot. Thanks guys, and we will see each other in the next one.